art school. Is it worth going to? Is it not worth going to? I'm going to give you the perspective of an art school dropout. Here we go. What's good, people? It's R.S.J. Creations here with a video. I'll tell you a little bit about me and my art school experience. So I went to the Art Institute of Pittsburgh in the summer of 2009, and I dropped out after the winter quarter of 2010. So about, I would say, around March, April time. Can't really remember that time because I have tried to push it to the darkest parts of my memory so I can never relive the horror again. But from an honest perspective of, is art school worth it or is it not? I'm going to give you some pros and cons of my experience, and so you can come up with your own conclusions. First thing I'm going to start off with, I am going to start off with the pros, because why the hell not? So the pros about being in art school is you are physically around other people. Not just other people, but other artists, other like-minded individuals, and hopefully people who are better than you so that you can, build your skill set. So you can look at their art and that little sense of, healthy competition. They can give you, being around physically or other people, you get immediate feedback. Now I know this is, the time I'm recording this is, November of 2020, and we're in the middle, hopefully the end really, but it's a pandemic going on. So a lot of person-to-person contact is not being had right now. We are, supplementing that with virtual experiences. Now, I have my own strong, unpopular opinions of this, but I'm trying to keep this relevant to the video. But let's just pretend, shall we, that we're not in the middle of a pandemic and you're thinking about going to art school next year. Maybe you're a high school student that's going to graduate and you're thinking about going to art school. So just a couple of things to give you a heads up on. Building social skills is a undervalued skill set that anybody has, especially artists. Artists, we are more or less known. One of the things we're known for is to be antisocial and depressing and all that type of stuff. Listen, not every artist is like that. However, I do see more often than not, a lot of people in the creative field suffer from some type of social anxiety. So being around other people, especially other artists, will help that social anxiety a little bit. One of my classes that I was in, I forget exactly what the name of the class was, but I remember the teacher. His name is Mr. Schwab. He's a cool dude. His class, I think, was more about acting, character acting, acting to embody a character so you can draw them better and understand them better. And that class kind of broke me out of my shell. This was a little later in my art school career, but it broke me out of my shell a little bit to be more expressive, even in my personal life, to just be more expressive and to help me with that social anxiety. Next thing that the art school provides, it helps you build a portfolio. I'm kind of teetering into the cons of my notes here, but art school cannot teach you how to draw. I know what you're thinking. What the fuck did you just say? Yes, art school cannot teach you how to draw. Drawing is one of those skills where you have to learn by doing. Now, what art schools can do is help you to develop a portfolio, like what I mentioned before, being physically around other people, your teachers, your classmates, mentors. They're not going to draw for you, but instead they can point you in the right direction, show you what you need to pay attention to, give you some books that you can help build your skill set. But building a portfolio is, and depending on what your portfolio entails. So some people are, like myself, more of a character artist. So you would have character artists, a lean on character art in your portfolio. Some people are environment artists. Some people are fashion design artists. Either which way, they will help you to build a strong portfolio. So if you want to go into the professional career of art, for working for studios, working for companies, they'll help you basically, and your portfolio is your artistic resume. Next thing and this was a resource that I wish I took more advantage of when I was in art school. The library. I'm about to sound like a real bona fide nerd, but it's a good thing I don't give a damn what people think about me, because this is something that I really do regret. One of my biggest regrets, and I might make a video on the things I regret about that I didn't take advantage of while in art school. The library had a ton of books geared toward artists, geared toward just any and everything that you can use. Granted, online, the internet is the best tool we have for research and everything else, but there's something about just going in the library, being in that mental focus state, cracking open a book, and just digesting information that way. So being in that environment, and then also too, you got a table, you're around some of your friends, you had a little study group. Once again, going back to those physical interactions that we all miss so fucking much. I never thought that I would actually miss people, and I hate people, but I miss being around people. I'm having a weird bastard mix of emotions. But in addition to the library, my school had equipment that you had to sign in and out for. So like cameras, tablets, you name it, they had it. So that's basically what school is. It's just a resource where you have all these things. And so I had mentioned before, so competitiveness. Now, people seem to shun the idea, or they're scared, or being competitive triggers some people. Listen, you guys have the wrong attitude when it comes to being competitive. My mom used to tell me that there's always going to be somebody smarter than you. There's always going to be somebody who looks better than you, dresses better than you, draws better than you, comes up with better content than you. All you can do is be and do the best that you can. And sometimes, and being the best you can is looking at someone who is superior than you in a certain field, seeing what works for them, stealing some of their stuff. I'm not saying plagiarizing, but one of the things to be a better artist is to study the works of the masters. And I would say not just the masters like Leonardo and Michelangelo and the Renaissance masters, but I mean somebody who just simply draws better than you. Marcus Williams is one of my top favorite artists. He is an artist based in Atlanta. He is the character designer and artist behind the comic series Tuskegee Heirs, and he has several others. I'll actually link his Instagram page in the description below. But I love his style. His colors, his characters, his anatomy, they all just resonate with me. And I look to his stuff to say, well, how does he draw hands like this? How does he draw shoulders, the anatomy, all that type of stuff. But you look to somebody who's better than you so they can actually help you so you can bring up your game. And there's nothing wrong with a little healthy competition. How many of you watch Dragon Ball Z and see how hard Goku and Vegeta go at each other? Goku is stronger than Vegeta, if not really simply just by plot armor. But Vegeta is always trying to be better than him because he acknowledges that Goku is stronger than him. So for him to be stronger than Goku, for him to be his best self, Goku's just a hurdle that he has to overcome. So like I said, nothing wrong with being competitive, and school definitely brings that competitive nature out there. I've had teachers who would tell me, you have to learn how to compete in this field, that you're not just competing with your peers, but you're also competing with other industry professionals who've been in the game longer. Having that, instead of having the attitude of, oh, so there's some people who are better than me, why should I compete against them? You should say, challenge accepted. That's it. So segueing into teachers. Now, I had a good amount of really good teachers when I was at the Art Institute of Pittsburgh that I, now looking back on it, wish that I had taken more advantage of. So, saw them for their office hours and really sought out their mentorship. I had one teacher in particular, her name was Miss Love. Yes, that was actually her name, Miss Love. But everyone hated her because she discouraged people from drawing anime characters and this. Now, I love anime. I love the anime aesthetic. But one of her things was that she was not big on us drawing anime characters because that's not what the American industry wanted. Now, a lot of that has actually shifted, where there's a lot of content and a lot of people who actually like that aesthetic, and we're kind of making an Americanized version of anime. So she was wrong in that regard. However, she still challenged us to learn pretty much the classic way. Still, she was just one of those teachers that was tough on you to break you of bad habits so you can build new habits. And I've had several teachers, even in elementary and high school, where they were perceived to be the tough teacher, but I actually like tough teachers because they breed out weakness in you and make you stronger. And I've had other teachers. I remember one of my design teachers, I think his name was Mr. Wills. He had told me something very profound, not me personally, but he told the class. He said that even if you do poorly in my class, if you learn the principles of design, then you have gotten everything that this class is supposed to teach. And I looked at design so much differently because of his class. So having these teachers, industry professionals who can, teach you these things is another valuable resource. And once again, because you're there in person, social skills get developed. You know how to, and also learning how to ask the right questions. Moving forward, the biggest thing that I also think is a pro is that art school teaches is the technical aspects of art. So learning anatomy, learning design, learning color theory, all those things that people don't think of when they see an image. It's one of those things like if you see a design, you like it, you instantly like it, or your eyes are attracted to it, but you don't know why you like it. So that's what art school teaches. It teaches the technical side and the psychology of art. Those are my pros of why art school is good based off of my experience. Alright guys, so when I was editing this video, I realized that it's a little long. So I'm going to break this up into two parts. Part one is the pros, which is the video you just saw. Part two will be the cons, and I'll be releasing that next week. I want to put some, nuts and bolts on it, fine tuning, all that stuff to get it where I'm comfortable to release it. But yeah, so until next time guys, deuces.